Today let us start a new module in organic chemistry, and it is a fourth module, that is ethers and epoxide. And here I am giving a small introduction to what is an ether and what is an epoxide. Let us see what is an ether first. Basically, ether comes from the Latin word ether, means to ignite, and it is of having a high vapor pressure at room temperature, which makes them very flammable. That means ether is a highly volatile. Okay. And next point is an ether is an organic compound in which an oxygen atom is bonded to two carbon atoms by a single bond. Here in ether, one oxygen is bonded to two other carbons. You can see some of the examples here. Here it is CH3O CH3. So O is a functional group here, which is connected in connection with the carbon to either sides. The next is CH3CH2O, and it is connected to a pentene, cyclopentene. The next is CH3O and also giving to a cyclopentene. And here you can see a generalized formulas for ether. Basically, the ether is represented as ROR, or otherwise it is represented with an ROR dash, or it is an ROAR. AR means the phenyl group, or it can be two phenyl group which is in connection with an oxygen. Hence AR, O and ER. Next we can just see how the nomenclature of ethers is given. Ethers are of two types. That means they may be symmetrical ethers or unsymmetrical ethers. Symmetrical means both the groups on either side of the oxygen may be the same, and unsymmetrical means the groups on either side of the oxygen, or the oxygen is connected with the two different types of groups. That is called unsymmetrical. Anyway, first of all, we can see how an unsymmetrical ethers is named. Here the CH3O CH2 CH3. Here in name is given as the ethyl first. That means according to the alphabetical order, it is ethyl, methyl, ether. This is ethyl, sorry, this is ethyl, methyl, ether. And the next is ethyl, phenyl, ether. So this is a ethyl group and this is a phenyl group, and then it is an ether, so it is ethyl, phenyl, ether. Next you can see how a symmetrical ether is named. It is named as CH3OCH3, so it can be named as, it is a dimethyl ether. This is because the groups attached to the either side to O is same, so that is dimethyl ether. Here you can see the ethyl group is attached on either side of the oxygen, therefore the name will be like this, diethyl ether. And after that I included some of the properties of an ether. They are, ethers are more soluble in water than alkenes. If you are taking an alkene and an ether, either is of having higher solubility in water than any other alkenes. And similar to alcohol of the same molecular mass, ether is similar to alcohol which is having the same molecular mass. More than that, ethers are very flammable. Ethers react slowly with oxygen from the air to form unstable hydrogen peroxides and hydroperoxides and peroxides. So this is a hydroperoxide, that is ROOH, and the other peroxide means ROOR. Okay, anyway, that's all about the ethers. Here I given only a small introduction. If you are interested, you can browse what all are the other points that is related to the ethers. Then we can see what is an epoxide. Epoxide means there are certain ethers which can be formed as like that of a cyclic ethers. So cyclic ethers are sometimes called the epoxide or cyclic ethers. A special type of cyclic ether which is named a special, that is the epoxide. In cyclic ethers, that means heterocyclic, one or more carbons are replaced with the oxygen. Here you can see an oxygen is there, and it is named as tetrahydrofuran, and this is a furan, and this is oxirane. It is very important. This is ethylene oxide, and this is the simplest cyclic ether. This is the simplest cyclic ether, and having the particular name epoxide and also having several other properties. It is also, epoxide is also called the oxirane. It is the simplest cyclic ether, that is the ethylene oxide. And the other is 1,4-dioxane, in which 2 oxygen atom is presented in the ring. Epoxides are cyclic ethers. Here, this is epoxide. Epoxides are cyclic ethers in which either oxygen is part of a 3-membered ring. Okay. It is the simplest and the most important epoxide. If you are considering the cyclic ethers, out of the cyclic ethers, the oxirane or the epoxide or the ethylene oxide is of having high importance, and it is the simplest cyclic ether. Therefore, it is named as special, that is epoxides. Here you can see epoxide are cyclic 3-membered ethers containing oxygen atom as a member of the ring. Epoxide are also called oxiranes. Here it is given the structure of the oxirane. An epoxide is a special type of ether. Moreover, that epoxide are much more reactive than common dialkyl ether because of the strain in the 3-membered ring, which is relieved when the epoxide ring is opened after a reaction has taken place. Anyway, we are concluding what is an epoxide. We can discuss more about what is an ether, that means a preparation of ether, and what all are the chemical properties of ether. And after that, we will discuss how the epoxides are prepared and what all are the important chemical reactions which can be seen in the epoxides. So let us explain in detail about the ethers. First of all, we are discussing the preparation of ethers. Okay. First preparation is by Williamson synthesis. The preparation is Williamson synthesis. It is an important laboratory method for this preparation of symmetrical and unsymmetrical ethers. That means both the symmetrical ethers and unsymmetrical ethers can be prepared by using Williamson synthesis. And it was proposed by the Alexander William Williamson in the year 1824 to 1904. Here you can see, and sodium alkoxide is taken, RONA++, an alkyl halide. Alkyl halide means Rx. Here it is given as R-X, and when it is heated, you are getting either, that means ROR- plus NaX. Here NaX and forming an ether, that means ROR-. It is a nucleophilic substitution reaction involving the SN2 attack of alkoxide ion in the alkyl halide. It is a nucleophilic, we can see here. Okay, it is a William-Williamson synthesis SN2 reaction in which here this is attacking an alkoxide nucleophile is attacking on the primary or methyl alkyl halide, and you are getting a shift will takes place like this, and you are getting an ether. This reaction is best for primary halide, and one example is given. Primary halide means that means the CH3Br. Then the alkoxide is here the alkoxide is sodium ethoxide, CH3CH2ONA means sodium ethoxide. Combining with primary halide. Why we are taking the primary halide is because this reaction is best for the primary halide, and anyway you will get the product or the ether as it is an unsymmetrical ether, that is a CH3CH2O CH3 plus NaBr. Okay. The next example is C2H5O Na++ IC2H5. Here also it is a primary halide, alkyl halide, and you are getting, and then means C2H5O C2H5. Here the symmetrical ether is formed and giving a Na plus as a byproduct. The next is C2H5 plus sodium ethoxide plus BrCH3. You are getting the ether as C2H5OCH3 plus NaBr. The next condition is that we want to prepare an ether which is containing substituted alkyl group. alkyl group. That means we want to prepare an ether that must contain the substituted alkyl group. So in order to form such type of an ether, what all the precautions that you or what all are the conditions that one should follow? In order for the better result, that means in order to form such type of an ether, the alkyl halide should preferably be primary, and the alkoxide taken should be one that gives the required tertiary or secondary or tertiary. We know that we are taking an alkoxide and a alkyl halide. In order to prepare for substituted ether, what we want to consider? We want to consider an alkyl halide which is a primary, and it is already taken here, that is a primary alkyl halide CH3Br. And the alkoxide you should taken in such a way that it should not be primary, instead it should be secondary or tertiary alkyl group. So here it is given CH3C, CH3ONA plus CH3Br, and you are getting a substituted alkyl ether. That means CH3 CH3O CH3 plus NaBr. Okay, anyway, you are getting the product that you require. If you are taken in another format, in what format? If the primary halide or the halide is taken as a secondary or tertiary, and the alkyl halide you are taken, the alkyl halide you are taken as a primary or secondary, and the alkoxide you are taken as a primary, and what will happen? The required product is not formed, instead an elimination dominates over substitution. That is given here. If secondary or tertiary alkyl halide, that means the alkyl halide in the earlier case it is a primary alkyl halide. If the alkyl halide is used as a secondary or tertiary, that means here the tertiary alkyl halide is given. If it is reacted with a sodium ethoxide NaOCH3, then what will be the product? The product will not be the ether. Instead, you are getting an elimination dominates over the substitution. Here the methanol is eliminated. That means you are getting another product CH3C, CH3C double bond CH2 plus NaBr plus CH3OH, and the CH3OH is getting eliminated here. Here we discussed about how an aliphatic ethers is prepared, and now we are discussing how an aryl ethers can be prepared. You take the phenol and react it with NaOH. In the presence of NaOH, it will converted into sodium phenoxide. Then again it is reacted with an alkyl halide RX, and you are getting the ether. It is also called the Williamson method, and here you can see the Williamson phenol is reacted with NaOH and water is eliminated and forming a sodium phenoxide. And the sodium phenoxide, when undergoing treated with a primary halide, that means RX, and NaX is eliminated, and you are getting an aryl ether. That means here if R is an alkyl group is considered, it is an alkyl phenyl ether. You are getting an aryl ether. The next one is phenol when reacted with NaOH, and you are getting the sodium phenoxide. And what will that means? One example is given, that means IC2H5. Then you are getting then C6H5O C2H5 plus NaI. And another example, that means you can use any alkyl halide C2H5I or CH3Br. The same reaction is here. Phenol when treated with NaOH and water is eliminated and forming a sodium phenoxide. And the sodium phenoxide is getting treated with the CH3Br alkyl primary alkyl halide, and you can form the required ether, aryl ether C6H5O CH3, and you are eliminating and forming an NaBr. Aryl ethers cannot be prepared by reaction with aryl halide and a sodium alkoxide because of very low reactivity of aryl halide towards a nucleophilic substitution. Here you can see we are forming an aryl ether by reacting sodium phenoxide. Here all these are the sodium phenoxide with the alkyl halide, not the aryl halide. What will happen if an aryl halide, here you can see bromobenzene is an aryl halide. What will happen if the aryl halide is got treated with the sodium ethoxide? That means an sodium alkoxide. No product will formed here. Why? Just because the aryl halide is of having very low reactivity towards a nucleophilic substitution. That is why it is not reacting and the product is not at all forming. The next preparation of ether is by dehydration of alcohols. Alcohol is getting dehydrated. That means water is getting eliminated. Symmetrical ethers are prepared. And how it is prepared? The CH3, CH2OH plus CH3, CH2OH and water is eliminated from here in the presence of concentrated sulfuric acid and the Kelvin for 13 Kelvin. Water is eliminated and forming a ether. That means symmetrical ether, diethyl ether, CH3, CH2O, CH2, CH3 plus water. And the mechanism for this is it is given CH3, CH2, OH plus H plus in the presence of an acid. It is getting changing protonated CH3, CH2O, H2 plus, that is a protonated alcohol, otherwise called the ethyl oxocation. And that ethyl oxocation is getting connected with another ethanol. Then what is forming? The shifting of an electron is forming here and we are getting the product CH3, CH2OH, C2, CH3, CH2, CH3 plus water. Okay, that is the mechanism. And after that, the CH3, CH2, that means this H is getting removed. That is CH3, CH2, OH plus H2, CH3. That is bond is shifted to here and H is removed as H plus and you are getting a symmetrical ether. That means diethyl ether. Okay. So these are the two preparations of the ethers. And next we can discuss what all are the chemical reactions for the ethers. We know that ethers lack labile hydrogen atom and therefore relatively unreactive. So they can be widely used as the solvents in organic chemistry. In organic chemistry, mainly we are using the ether in order to separate the mixture of organic compounds. Either having a very high importance while separating the organic compounds. First of all, we are going to discuss what is the basic properties of ether. It can function as a Lewis base because the oxygen has two lone pairs of electron. We know that the ether consisting of ROR dash for oxygen consisting of two lone pair is because of that it can function as a Lewis base. Here ROR plus H plus, we can see ROR and yeah, it is getting an H and Cl minus, that is oxonium. Then with concentrated inorganic salt it forms an oxonium salt. You can see another one C2H5O C2H5 plus a BF3 and what is getting it is acting as a base and taking the BF3 C2H5O C2H5 BF3. The next property is acidic cleavage of CO bond. Here we can see the CO bond is getting cleaved. And if you are using the acid, then we can see the CO bond in the ether is getting cleaved in the presence of acid. That is given here as acidic cleavage of CO bond. And I am taking the first ether as a symmetric ether and I am going to find out how the carbon oxygen bond is getting cleaved in the presence of acid. If an ether is combined with or ether is reacted with a hot concentrated hydrogen iodide or hydrogen HBr, you will get an alkyl halide or alcohol, or you will getting an alkyl halide and alcohol. And the general reaction is given here. If your ether is ROR dash plus HX heated in the presence of an alkyl halide, and what is forming? You are forming another alkyl halide, that means R dash X. Here the breaking is taking place between this R and O. That means the carbon that is seen here and the oxygen here, and we are forming and the bond is breaking here and the X is getting attached with that R, that is the RX, and the other one R dash OH. Okay, one example is given here. Ethoxyethane, that is C2H5O C2H5 plus HI. Ethoxyethane in the presence of concentration hydrogen iodide, and you will get an iodoethane. How it is forming? That means the bond is breaking here and it is forming C2H5I and the other is C2H5OH. What will happen if the same reaction is taking place in excess of HI? What will happen? If excess of HI is used, then the equation will be like this. C2H5O C2H5 plus HI. Definitely the first reaction will be the same. That means C2H5I plus C2H5 H5OH. That is the same reaction here. If excess HI is used, then again the bond here, that means this carbon oxygen bond here, it will getting break. Then here breaking is taking place here, and what will be the product? Here HI is getting H is getting connected to the C2H5 and forming the C2H5I, and the other one is H and OH, that means H2O. Anyway, the answer will be if the ether is in, or an symmetric ether is in reacted with a concentrated acid in the excess of HI, then what will the product? C2H5O C2H5 plus 2HI, you are getting the product as the bond will break here, that means C2H5I plus H2O, that is the overall reaction. Anyway, I can say that the order of reactivity or order of acidity is HI greater than HBr greater than HCl. Next, I am going to say about the condition for an unsymmetrical ether. What will happen for unsymmetrical ether? Case 1. When the alkyl group, the case 1, that is when an alkyl group present in the ether are primary and secondary, it is a lower alkyl group that forms an alkyl iodide. You be confirm with this point. When an alkyl group, that means in an ether, that means the CH3OC2H5 are primary and secondary, it is a lower alkyl group that forms an alkyl iodide. The lower in the out of the groups in ether, or out of the alkyl group in ether, if which alkyl group is a lower, then that lower alkyl forms an alkyl iodide. And the mechanism followed here is the Isento mechanism, and the nucleophile I minus attacks at the least substituted carbon of the oxocation. Here you can see the least substituted, that means CH3O C2H5, then it is getting reacted with HI and undergoing heat, then what is forming here? The breaking will be takes place here. Why? Just because the nucleophile attack at the least substituted carbon of the oxocation. Here the least substituted is a CH3 while comparing with the C2H5. Therefore, the coming alkyl group or the coming alkyl halide is if it is reacted with this in the presence of HI, then what will happen? That means CH3I plus C2H5 OH, and it is forming an ethyl methyl ether. What will happen if excess of HI is used here in this case? In this case, you will look to this equation, that will be better other than this. CH3O C2H5 plus HI gives, the breaking will be here CH3I plus C2H5 OH. Again that C2H5 OH plus HI in the presence of heating, you are getting an answer, that means our product C2H5I plus H2O. If you take the overall reaction, what will be the product and what will be the reaction? CH3O C2H5 plus 2HI gives CH3I plus C2H5I plus H2O. Okay. Here mechanism is shown here. First step is protonation of ether. The ether is getting protonated. That means CH3OH plus, it is getting protonated. It is CH2 CH3 plus I minus. This is a protonated ether, or otherwise called the oxocation. And the second one is the SN2 attack of the nucleophile. Attack of I minus at oxocation. The I minus is getting attacked on the oxocation that is formed in the first step. That is a CH3OH plus CH2 CH3 and forming an intermediate and at last forming the product CH3I plus C2H5OH. What will happen if excess HI is used? What will happen? Then the formed product, that means CH3 CH2 OH plus HI, you are getting a protonated ethane or oxocation CH3 CH2 OH plus H plus I minus, and after that what is forming? Then I minus is getting treated with the CH3 CH2 OH2 plus, that is the CH3 CH2I plus H2O. The next case is that when one of the alkyl group present in the ether is a tertiary, it is a tertiary alkyl group that forms the alkyl iodide. Okay, here you can see, that means the alkyl group present in an ether. That means either this is the functional group on either side of the ether. This is one side and this is another other side. Only the condition in the case 2 is that one of the alkyl group present in the ether is tertiary. Here this is the tertiary group CH3C, CH3, CH3O, CH3. So this is a tertiary here. Then it is the tertiary alkyl group that forms the alkyl iodide. It is not, in the last case we say that the least carbon forms the, here you can see, the least substituted carbon is forming or it is getting reacted with the I and forming CH3I. But here the condition is not like that. The condition is that the alkyl group present in the ether, that means it is the tertiary alkyl group that forms the alkyl iodide, and we are forming the other product is CH3OH and the other is tertiary butyl iodide CH3C, CH3CH3I. Then what is the reason for that? The removal of CH3OH group creates a more stable tertiary carbocation. The removal of CH3OH group creates a more stable tertiary carbocation. What is a tertiary carbocation? It is given here. That means CH3C plus CH3CH3. We know that the reaction follows the SN1 mechanism. Okay, here the mechanism is given here. In the case of an unsymmetrical alkyl group and symmetrical alkyl group. First one is protonation of ether, that is a CH3C, CH3, CH3O, CH3 plus HI, and it is getting protonated first. And that protonated ether or oxocation CH3, CH3C with the OH, CH3 plus I minus. The second and third step is the SN1 mechanism and forming and CH3 CH3OH protonated, that means the product already formed here. If it is treated in the slow condition, what is forming? It forms in a tertiary butyl cation and CH3OH. Again the tertiary butyl cation is getting connected with the I and the reaction is very fast and forming CH3C, CH3, CH3, CH3I. So that is the condition here. What is the condition? When one of the alkyl group present in the ether is tertiary, it is the tertiary alkyl group that forms an alkoxide. Here also the tertiary alkyl group forms the alkoxide. Okay. The next case is when an aryl ether is heated in presence of HiHBr and the cleavage of the CO bond occurs with the formation of phenol and alkyl halide. Okay. The last condition or the last case is that the ether is heated in presence of HiHBr and the cleavage of the CO bond occurs with the formation of a phenol and alkyl halide. So the formation of phenol is very important. So that will be the breaking will be like here. So phenol means C6H5OH plus CH3I. What is the reason for that? So or what is the reason for the changing of the matters? The first reason is that methyl phenyl oxocation formed in the first step. Second one, OCH3 bond is weaker than OC6H5. Okay, OCH3 bond is weaker than the OC6H5. OC6H5 is sp2. That means carbon that is formed in the OC6H5 is sp2, and OCH3. Here the OCH3, the carbon in the OCH3 is sp3, hence more reactive. Therefore, the CH3 is getting reacted with the I minus. Okay, due to the steric effect, here you can see one more point. Due to resonance, C6H5OH have partial double bond character. Due to steric effect of phenyl group, I minus attack on CH3. Due to the steric effect of phenyl group, I minus attacks on CH3. Here some example is given. CH3OC6H5HI, and what is forming? Protonated ether oxocation is forming. That is the I minus plus CH3OC6H5, and forming and another compound, that means CH3I plus C6H5OH. Anyway, the benzene C6H5OH plus HI is not reacting. Why? Is because the carbon oxygen bond is sp2. Here the carbon is sp2, and the sp2 carbon do not undergo nucleophilic substitution reaction. That is why phenol is not reacting with the HI. Okay. The next chemical property is the Claisen rearrangement, which is very important, and it is a sure question in the exam. That is a easy question. What is a Claisen rearrangement? You just take an allyl phenyl ether. What is that? Allyl phenyl ether means allyl. This is an allyl group. CH2 double bond CH2. This is an allyl group, and this is a phenyl group. So naming will be like this: allyl phenyl ether. If it is heated about 200 degrees Celsius in absence of catalyst, and it undergoes a molecular rearrangement to give ortho-allyl phenol. This reaction is known as Claisen rearrangement. This is our allyl phenyl ether, and if it is heated and the ortho position is substituted, that means the ortho-allyl phenol. This reaction is called a Claisen rearrangement. So the main points of this reactions are: the allyl group, that means the allyl group that is forming here, migrated to the ortho position if it is not substituted. If the ortho, here the allyl group is substituted at the ortho position. Why? Just because the ortho position is already vacant there. That is why the allyl group is getting properly substituted on the ortho group. If it is substituted, then it will not be goes to that ortho position. Instead, it goes to another position. With the help of isotopic labeling, it is found that there is an inversion of allyl group when it migrates to the ortho position. You can see this is a CH2, CH2. Here also, if we heat it, if the ortho is not there, then the allyl group will shift it to here. It means CH2, CH2. But it is not like that. CH2. This CH2 is getting connected to here. There is a change. If you are labeled this as 1, 2 and 3, C1, C2 and C3, then the C3 will be getting connected to here. Then you can see only if you undergo a proper isotopic labeling. I will say once again, if this C is C1, this is C2 and this is C3, then C3 will be attached here. Okay, C3 is getting attached here, and this is C2 and this is C1. That is given here. With the help of an isotopic labeling only, it is found that there is an inversion of an allyl group when it migrates to the ortho position. This allyl group is getting undergoing inversion, and it is getting connected to the ortho position. Here you can see some of the examples here. and that isotopic labeling is also given here. So I think it will be clear for you if you just go through these examples. This is an allyl phenyl group. If phenyl ether, that means this is 1, 2 and 3. If it is heated, you can see this 3 is getting attached to here. Okay, so it will be like the CH2 CH double bond CH2. But but while looking to this example, we not be sure that which one is getting connected. So only through the isotopic labeling we can confirm that which carbon is getting connected at the ortho position. The next another example is here also CH2 CH double bond CH single bond CH3. Here also the third carbon is getting attached to the phenyl group, the ortho group. Okay, ortho position or the ortho group getting connected to the ortho position. That means the ortho methyl allyl phenol. Okay, when both the ortho group are substituted or occupied, if you are considering both of the, if this is a our basic compound, if both the ortho group is getting substituted, then what will happen? Towards the allyl group is getting shifted. When both the ortho group are substituted or occupied, then migration takes place to the para position, that is a allyl group. Here consider an example. If this is one of the example in such a way that both the ortho position is getting substituted. So in that condition, we can see that, so this is an example allyl 2,6 dimethyl phenyl ether. Okay, so this is 2,6 dimethyl allyl, this is dimethyl phenyl ether. Okay, this is name is given in another manner, allyl 2,6 dimethyl phenyl ether. Okay, anyway, if both the ortho side is substituted, then basically that the group will goes to which position? Goes to the migrates to the para position. So here the para position CH2 CH double bond CH2, that is the 4-allyl 2,6 dimethyl phenol. So what type of mechanism is taking place here? The mechanism of this reaction is intermolecular mechanism. That is why no cross product is formed. Here the rearrangement is taking place in the intramolecular manner. Okay, so this is consider an example. C6H5O, consider an ether. That means C6H5O CH2 CH double bond CH2. Then a shifting will take place here, that this is alpha, beta, gamma. So shifting will be takes place like this, and you are getting a product like this C6. This is alpha, beta and gamma, and hydrogen is getting changed to here and oxygen is changing. That means C6H5OH CH2 single bond CH double bond CH2. Okay, and the last type of chemical properties is a halogenation. Here you listen that this reaction is very important. That means it lays in rearrangement, and its mechanism also important. Mechanism is clearly specified in your syllabus. And the last one is a halogenation. What is halogenation? The symmetric ether is getting treated with the halogen in presence of dark water, forming CH3 CH2O CHCl CH3. Again one more time it is getting reacted with the Cl2, then also it is forming CH3 CHCl O CHCl CH3. And the next example is CH3 CH2O CH2 CH3 in the presence of excess Cl2 and in the presence of light, all the hydrogenous changes. All the hydrogenous get changes into all hydrogen is replaced with the halogen. That means CCl3 plus CCl2O, CCl2 and CCl3. Okay. Next is oxidation. Next property is oxidation. What will happen if a symmetric ether is undergoing oxidation? What is forming? It forms a peroxide, and these peroxide explode violently at a high temperature. And the ether, when it's reacted with the O2 and HNO, what will form? It forms a peroxide. This peroxide epoxide violently at a high temperature. And the last one is how we are preparing an aromatic ethers. Okay, aromatic ether first preparing by halogenation, and anisole is taken, that means C6H5O CH3 in the presence of CH3COOH and Br2, and we are forming a two products, major product and a minor product, and major product is Br C6H5O CH3, and the minor product, that means the major product is formed when the group is in para position, and if it is ortho position, then the rate will be low and it is forming the minor product. The next is a nitration OCH3 C6H5 in the presence of HNO3 and H2SO4. What is forming? The NO2 will forms a ortho para products. So NO2 is a ortho para directing. So this is a major one for nitroanisole and for 2-nitrile anisole, that is a minor product. And the last reaction is Friedel-Crafts reaction. What is Friedel-Crafts reaction? Friedel-Crafts reaction means anisole, that means C6H5OCH3 plus CH3Cl in the presence of anhydrous AlCl3 and cesium, then CS2, that is forming a para product and a ortho product. 4-methoxytoluene major and 2-methoxytoluene is the minor. Then other example is benzene ring in connection with OCH3 reacted with the CH3COCl, AlCl3 and leaving an HCl, OCH3 with C6H5OCH3. That means the product will be like this, that minor product will be like this at the ortho position, and the major product will be like this in the where it is formed, where the group is getting attached, the group is getting attached at the para position. Okay, anyway, we discussed all about ethers and epoxide. First of all, we have discussed what all are the preparation of ethers, and after that we discuss the chemical properties of ethers. Anyway, in the next class we will discuss what is an epoxide.